going on, MSFers? Ultimus here, back again with another video. And today, we're going to be talking about the Annihilators, but specifically the reworks. And we're going to be talking about who to build from the reworks, and is it worth it to take them where you see them currently on screen. So we're going to start off with Silver Surfer. Silver Surfer is a really good character when he came out, right? He was at 126 speed, which was incredibly fast. We always refer to the ass meta as the after Silver Surfer meta, and his stats were ridiculous. And honestly, his stats are really good. He's got 5.5 million health, 255k damage, 244,000 armor. So really, really good. And his kit is still pretty solid, right? So his basic transfers all negative effects from this character to the primary target. And that's the T4 part. Can't be counterattacked. And he's also transferring all positive effects from the primary target to this character as well, if he has no negative effects. So that's a really cool basic ability. His special, kind of lackluster in my opinion. Attacks all adjacent targets for, attack primary target for 600% piercing, and then attack all adjacent targets for 200% piercing. So it's not bad. It does a decent amount of damage, but his ult is really, really cool. So it attacks all enemies for 350% piercing. You're seeing a trend. There's a lot of piercing on this kit. Clear immunity and apply heal block for 2 turns. Clear all charged and positive effects and apply ability block for 2 turns to the primary target. This attack cannot be blocked or counterattacked. Now, this ult, as you're reading this, looks really, really good, right? Because you're thinking of it like Quicksilver, you're removing charges. Black Knight, you're removing charges, right? But the problem is Black Knight has so much resistance that he literally cannot remove the charges off of him. I think there might be a workaway around it, but it's a really expensive workaway around it. We'll talk about that in a second when we talk about ISO. As for his passive, the Power Cosmic, his passive is really, really good. So on spawn, gain defense up for 3 turns. On any turn, heal 5% for this character's max health, so he's really tanky. And then on turn, gain 15% speed up to a maximum of 45% speed. So if he takes 3 turns, he's literally got a base speed of like 186 or something like that. So it's really, really good because he could just ramp up, and then he's healing for 5% every time he takes a turn. So if he's lapping the opponents, he's literally out healing the enemy opponent damage. So that's really nice. Gain 50% resistance if there are any villain cosmic enemies, and gain an additional 50% resistance. And then gain focus as well if this character has 1 or more hero cosmic allies. But the problem is with his team, he doesn't have any hero cosmic allies. They're all villains. So on his team, that's kind of crappy. But the extra focus is really nice because, again, his focus is really high at 141,000, and then 50% of that is going to put him at like 210,000, so that's a really good amount of focus. As for his ISO choice, there's a lot of choices, right? I think Striker's a good choice. I think Raider's a good choice, but I also think Skirmisher's a good choice. I think Skirmisher is going to be a great choice if you take him to Purple 3 as well, because he's going to get another 50% focus. So with his passive and the Purple 3 ISO Skirmisher, he's going to get an extra 100% focus, which is going to put him around 280,000 focus, which is really good. But I still do not think that is enough to peel off the charges from Black Knight. So unfortunately, he does not have a lot of uses other than just being a nuisance on defense in War and Cosmic Crucible because of just how big he is and how good his stats are. I don't think he has that much plug-and-play use. Unfortunately, I haven't had much plug-and-play use for him in Cosmic Crucible as of yet. I do have him on defense now with Gladiator and Ultimus to stop the vulnerables, because Gladiator stops vulnerables if he has 2 or more Annihilator allies. So that's the only real use I've gotten out of him. So I'd say if you guys are good on gold and mystic gear, I'd say just take him up to gear 18, level 100, and leave him there. I don't think it's worth putting gear 19 on him, given that there's most likely I mean, we've seen the blog. There's the Night Stalkers team coming, and that's going to be the Mystic Raid team. So I'd say save resources for that, because lately raid teams have been really, really good. So honestly, Silver Surfer kind of gets like a C+ B- in my opinion. Again, I have not found much uses for him, but he's going to be good on his team with the full team coming out. But I think there's going to be better fists that you could throw in there. But again, kind of meh, honestly, which is really unfortunate because Silver Surfer has a really, really good kit. He just doesn't fit in the meta anywhere. Now, let's talk about Ultimus. Never thought we'd be here, huh? If you're a Twitch goer, you've known I didn't even have Ultimus unlocked until like 4 or 5 months ago. He was literally sitting at like 180 out of like 4,000 shards. I refused to put any gold into him just out of spite because he was literally as bad as a minion. But now this guy is S tier, and I'm not even exaggerating. You'll see his stats here. He's extremely tanky. He's got 6.6 million health, 300,000 damage. His armor is also at 215. Focus, a little meh. Resistance, also kind of meh. But his speed got buffed a bunch too at 121. And also he has a turn meter mechanic in his passive that we'll go over. So for the basic overwhelming assault, there is literally... I mean, there's a little bit of a reason to put a T4 on him, but it's kind of meh. You can mind control an enemy, but it doesn't really matter because most of the time you're not getting to his basic. Most of the time he does his job after he uses his ultimate, and then he kind of stands there. So the T4 on the basic is kind of meh. The mind control can be useful if you're going against really big enemies, especially if you're using him in like Dark Dimensions. So if you have enemies hitting each other, obviously they have increased stats, so they're slapping each other for like 6 million damage, so that's kind of helpful. But again, eh. Special Void Blast. I ended up doing the T4 because it does extra piercing, and it also copy and clears all positive effects. This special does a lot of damage because it's piercing. And again, he has 300,000 damage. And if he's doing 280% piercing, it's ridiculously good. So I would do the T4 on this one, especially it also copy and clears all positive effects. So he's gaining all the positive effects from primary and adjacent, and he's also clearing it, which is really great as always. For the ult, absolutely T4 this. This is the first T4 you do. This is what makes this guy S tier. His ult, Domination, is a tank buster auto delete button. So it flips offense down, then applies offense up to self. Attack primary target for 370% damage. And then for each positive effect on the primary target, bonus attack for 290% damage. Flip a random positive effect to negative effect every time he hits. And then apply defense down and ability block to all enemy protectors. And you're usually going to be using this on an enemy protector because they're going to be having taunt, which is the one you're going to be stuck on. And then flip 3 negative effects into positive effects on self and all Annihilator and Kree allies. This is just Annihilator. Nobody uses Kree allies. This ult is what makes him as good as he is, and the reason why you need him absolutely massive. And then for his passive, Kree Eternal, the T4 does absolutely nothing because block chance for Kree allies. Again, no one's using Kree allies, so it doesn't matter. But his passive is good because on kill, fill speed bar for all non-Kree allies by 15%. So you're getting extra turn meter if he gets a kill, which is really, really, really good. And then the thing that makes him really awesome is on enemy taunt, fill speed bar for self by 30%. So if you have a pre-taunting tank, he is gaining 30% speed on spawn. And if he's at 121 speed, we'll do the math here. So if you don't know how to do the math, it's 121 divided by 0.7 because it's 30%, so it's taking off 0.3. And he's going at 172 speed, so he's going very, very fast. And if you pair him with Cabal, he's going to be one of the fastest villain critters in the game. Villain critters, it sounds like I just called him a bug. The fastest villains that can crit to enable Cabal to go. Plus, he's getting 50% extra damage, so he will one-shot a Black Knight at this level here. And a lot of people have been debating his ISO, but I think there's no choice whatsoever. It's Raider. You want him doing the most damage humanly possible, and Raider's going to be the way to do that because he's hitting upwards of 15 times on like a rogue if she's got her special out because she's got so many positive effects. You just want Raider on him to hit as many times as possible. I've seen some people say Striker. I don't get it, honestly. I think Raider is the absolute go-to. But for Ultimus, I'd give him an S tier. Honestly, I would take him to G19 if we didn't know there was a Mystic team coming. But if the Mystic team is underwhelming outside of raids, I will take this guy to G19. But he is all 5 pieces for Mystic gear, so he is extremely, extremely expensive. Also, he's Uru, and I do not have Uru right now, so that's also an issue. But I would absolutely recommend taking Ultimus to the freaking moon. Silver Surfer, kind of a nothing burger, but he has some niche uses. When he's with his team, he's going to make his team better because he's obviously giving some help to his team. And also his stats are just going to be a nuisance on CC defense or war defense because of the new stat bonus meta that we have going on now. But I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope it helps you guys plan out your resources accordingly. Until next time, this has been Ultimus. Later, MSFers.